Good evening, everyone, and good afternoon, based on where you are right now in the world. Thank you for joining us at MIT Tech Arabia. Again, my name is Dana Dabusi. I'm the co-chair of Tech Arabia and a member of the board of the MIT Arab Alumni Association. Today, we have a very special session because it's much more interactive than any other session in our program. So this will be a great opportunity for us to hear from the audience and to be led by very incredible workshop leaders here, Zaid and Afnan. I will give you a little bit of background on each of them, unless you would prefer to introduce yourselves. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this. Okay, I'll go ahead. So on our left, Zaid began by studying computer systems engineering in his bachelor's and working in banking and supply chain management for 8 years. He then decided to take a year off from work to find his calling in life, which we'll hear a lot more about. During his year off, Zaid did his MBA at IE Business School in Madrid and worked with an NGO at Johannesburg that cares for orphans and vulnerable children in the rural area. That's when he decided to integrate purpose into his career through the Orenda Tribe. In 2015, Zaid went to Zatari refugee camp to run the Orenda Tribe's first art session with children producing artwork that has printed on eco-friendly t-shirts and were sold to contribute back to the same community. And now 6 years later, the Orenda Tribe is partnering with global organizations and youth to influence positive behavior change on social issues such as climate change through art and storytelling. So I hope I didn't give away too much there. Next, Afnan um, is a multidisciplinary architect, creative with a background in project management, community empowerment, education, creating livelihoods, creative campaigning, and marketing, as well as women empowerment, girls' rights, architecture and urban planning, arts and crafts. So a lot of different things, but most importantly, storytelling. So her main value in life and what drives her and keeps her moving forward is helping others and paying it forward. Her role at the Orenda Tribe as well is to creatively develop and coordinate implementation of strategic advocacy and communication plans with companies and organizations all over the world. She implemented projects on social topics that are close to her heart with Save the Children International, PepsiCo, Airbnb, Georgetown, GIZ, and US Embassy on topics such as sustainability and girls' rights. And today, both Zaid and Afnan are here at Tech Arabia to walk us through art meets activism and getting us more involved and able to participate. So without further ado, I will leave the stage and leave the room to you.
Thank you, Dana, so much for the introduction. I hope you guys are ready for a fun workshop at the end of this day. Just to tell you more about the Orenda tribe. Basically, the word Orenda is of Native American origins, and what it means is it's a mystical power inside each one of us that enables us to make change in the world around us and in our own world. And we chose this word because what we do is we engage youth on global challenges through art and storytelling so that they can make change on these global challenges. And we do this through art workshops, through children's books, through online tools such as digital games and educational applications. And recently, throughout the past years, we've partnered with amazing international organizations like Save the Children International on children's rights, where we did workshops with kids in refugee camps and host communities in Egypt, Jordan, and Lebanon. And the artwork of the participants reached decision makers in order to influence positive policy change and so that these decision makers can know what the youth are going through and the global challenges they are facing. Currently, we are also working with PepsiCo to raise awareness on recycling and reusing plastic in the MENA region. We created an impact box and a digital game that engage kids and make them change agents on the topics across the whole region. Which brings me to today's workshop. So a couple of years ago, we worked with a school called Montessori. we coupled students from Montessori school and Gaza refugee camps together. And we asked the students to come up with a superhero that solves a global challenge of their choice. So they chose whatever global challenge, and they created this superhero with the superpowers and the name and the full characteristics. And we had so many creative results and outcomes that Afnan will share with you now before we go into the details of our workshop.
So, hello everyone. So I'll share my screen to show you some examples of the outcomes of the workshop that Zaid just mentioned. I picked four of one of my favorite superheroes that were made jointly by the kids between the refugee camp and the school from Amman. So I'm just going to share my screen. Can you see the screen? See it? Okay, just 1 minute.
Not yet.
Now?
Yes.
Yes, now we can.
So this is actually one of my favorite superheroes ever. His name is Adam, and he collects trash using his magical magnet that he holds on. So he flies all over the countries and spaces and collects trash using this magnet. And if you notice, he doesn't have a nose. Because the kid that drew this character, they don't want Adam to smell the bad smells of the trash. So it's a really creative superhero. So the second superhero, his name is Crash, and this one is a very special one because they put a special magical power in the blood of this superhero, and this superhero cures cancer and illness from kids. The third superhero, her name is Amal, and she's let's say a peacemaker, and she solves all the problems that's happening with kids all over the camp and Amman. And the interesting thing that they chose a lady to do this role, and her logo was this dove that you can see on her t-shirt or on her shirt. The final superhero is the water drop, or قطرة الماء as they named her. And this water puts out the fires that's caused by climate change or by the bad behaviors that human cause, like they cause fire in woods and these spaces. So these were my favorite four superheroes. And there are so many examples of these creative superheroes that shows us that kids can be super creative when they want to visualize a problem, and the way they think about the solution and how to visualize it in a very creative and smart way. So now it's your turn. I will leave you to have fun and bring out all the to tell you more about the activity that you will be doing, and hopefully that these four super summits you will go in if you want.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry, the connection was weak. Anyways, so now we want to see who's more creative. The MIT graduates or the students from the schools we've worked with. We're going to ask you to divide into groups, and then in the groups, please choose one sustainability challenge. It can be whatever you want. It can be climate change, it can be water pollution, deforestation, whichever sustainability challenge you want. Then please choose one team member to do the drawing, and together create a superhero. At the end of this workshop, at the last 10 minutes, we want you to show us the superhero. We want to know the superhero's name, what challenge you chose, what's the superhero's superpower. I'm going to write these in the message room. And how does he use this? How do they use this superpower to solve this problem? And we will ask you to show us the picture. I'm going to share with you a quick example to help the ones who are not familiar with art or who don't know how to start. 1 second, please. Okay, so I'm trying to share something, a file on the chat. Yeah, but it's not sharing.
You should be able to share it in the current room chat and not everyone. Okay.
Yeah, I am in the current room chat. I go to attach and okay, now it's shared. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this file I shared with you shows a number of characters created from different features shown in the file itself. So you can choose a face, you can choose a posture, you can choose different eye features, a nose. Be fun to end the day with. Dana, can you please start? I saw your superhero. Can you tell us about your superhero, the name, the superpower, and the problem you're solving?
Sure. So I can tell you a little bit about it, but Jen on our team, I think, can give us the full picture.
Okay.
So we were basically, the problem we chose is water scarcity, especially like I'm living in a desert in Saudi Arabia. Jordan has a water problem. Any area that doesn't have access to water also has problems with agriculture and feeding and getting water to all the people who live here. So that's the problem we wanted to look at. In kind of a joking manner, we were like, what if Elsa came and put snow everywhere from the movie Frozen? And so we kind of actually went with that idea and Arabified her shway. So her name is Adisa now. And instead of the song that she has, Let It Go, her catchphrase is Let It Grow. And beyond that, Jen can tell you a little bit about how her powers work. Jen, are you able to hold to talk?
Yes. Can you hear me now? Great. Yeah, so we were thinking about it being a combination of Elsa from Frozen and also Cersei from the Eternals, who had the ability of transmutation. And so not only being able to, because we also were talking about how agriculture is an important part in the Middle East, is scarcity in certain areas. So she being able to not only like bring snow that will end up melting, but also a form of transmutation of going around and fertilizing the soil. And in terms of gender equity, being that she is a woman, she could also help and teach the locals, like the saying, give someone a fish, they'll eat for a day, but teach someone to fish, they'll be full for a lifetime. So also teaching them how to continue the irrigation in their area.
Thank you so much, Jen, Dana, and the whole group. Very creative work. And it's as you can see, it's a great way, I think, to engage kids on topics that it makes them remember these topics and remember the solutions. Now moving into the second group, I saw Mice, you sent the second superhero. Who from your group will talk about it?
I think Rena or Bashar, they both were very enthusiastic about it. They can go ahead.
Okay.
Molly, can you give them access, Bashar or Rena?
I'll leave it to Rana because she had the idea, but we never managed to see the drawing.
It's in the chat. It's in the current room chat. Rana, you can press on hold to talk and you can say like your image behind it.
Assalamu alaikum. So do you see, if you scroll in the cartoon chat, I would like to introduce our heroine, Hayat. She's a tree and she helps us sequester CO2 by breathing it in and breathing out the O2 for us to get clean air. And she keeps the temperature down as well, both in Fahrenheit and centigrade, with all her beautiful leafy foliage. And her roots hold our soil from and keep it fertile, and even collects water for us and help it not evaporate and be lost. She has a big smile.
This is really beautiful, because if you think about it, trees are superheroes. When you speak about all of these things that trees can do, and when you put it in this way, we can think of trees and plants as superheroes. So we have one remaining group, I guess. Can you please share the image on the chat?
Faris, are you introducing?
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I just shared the back of the envelope drawing. The idea here was not so much of a peacemaker as much of a ass kicker, a strong person. I mean, the underlying theme was really the idea that for sustainability, we need also to think about governance and good governance, which is, I think, what most of us would agree on is quite lacking in our region. And so it's a female character, quite maybe a sort of, as Ma'moon was saying, sort of not sure if he was saying bipolar, but at least someone who sort of is a bit peaceful during the day, but then come maybe evening sort of rolls into action and is bringing the ideas from the community. So it's a bottom-up approach to bring the ideas from the community on how governance needs to be reshaped. And she's not going to be nice about it. She's probably going to strip away mobile devices from all decision makers to get them to sort of get their heads together and try and maybe not so gently force down their throats the ideas of the community. So yeah, maybe we're just coming to the end of the day and we wanted to see some action here. And oh yeah, and she's called her Miss T for turbulence. As I said, she's someone who's going to go in and get things done.
That's really nice, Faris. Thank you, because this is actually what we've been trying to do during our past projects. We've taken the kids' artwork and the superheroes and Afnan curated these into so many different things, into publications, into books that reach decision makers in the hopes of changing policy and having some action. So hopefully we'll reach that stage at one point. Thank you. Having some action. So hopefully